everyone, Nova here from Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Counselling Service. Had to think for a second there. Wonderful to be here tonight, guys, and fantastic to be back doing the live streams. I'm just going to adjust my my camera a little bit so you can see me all. Now, guys, we've got David DeMars joining us tonight all the way from the States. David will be here any second, and the second I see him pop up on the screen, so I'm going to let him in. David has a wealth of knowledge around narcissistic abuse, and I love having him here to co-host the show. Now, what I'm going to do so I can see your lovely faces and your lovely comments is to say hi so that I can see yours. So hi, done, send. Oh, where are you? Where are you guys? It's not letting me see your comments. That's kind of strange. Are you there, David? Oh, there we go. Okay, they're just still starting to load up now. So we've got Cinnamon Harry is there. Hi, Cinnamon. And I can see David there, so I'm going to try and let him in. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Facebook will play ball. Okay, David, where you are. It's saying that I'm adding you. So fingers crossed, that's exactly what's happening. Where you at, David? And there he is. Hey, David, how you going?
Good. Hello. Hi. How are you going?
I'm good. I'm good. You're getting really good at saying that now. How you going?
How you going? Yeah.
I remember asking you that once, and you saying, "What? I'm not going anywhere." So, oh, okay. Don't you say that over there? Yeah. Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. It's nice to be back. Yeah.
You're looking a bit suntanned there. You've been lying out in the sun.
Yeah, I have. I've been playing in the sun.
Playing in the sun. Oh, okay. Well, that's better than lying in the sun. Awesome. Okay. Well, David, we've got heaps of people here already, so I'm going to say some quick hi before we get around to answering questions. So, guys, yeah, do what you always do, which is say hi, say whereabouts in the world you're tuning in from, just so we know, I guess, where you are and how far the live streams are reaching and how many people, I guess, are seeing the live streams and I guess getting some benefit from it. So yeah, say hi, comment your questions below, and David and I will do our absolute best to answer as many as we possibly can. Okay, so yeah, we've got Cinnamon Harry's there. Hi, Cinnamon. We've got Renelia Boyson is there. Hi, Renelia from Cape Town, South Africa. We've got Rebecca Cott from Sydney. Hey, Rebecca. And we've got Michelle Gammons there. Hey, Michelle. Susan Ding says hi. Hey, Susan. We've got Costanel Ungarunu. I know I'm not saying that right, Costanel, but welcome and thank you very much for joining us. And Costanel's from Melbourne. Tracy Wilson's there, says hi. Hey, Tracy. Katrina Harris-Bearden is there. Hey, Katrina. Trisha Craig, Renee Angelou from Melbourne. Hi, guys. And Rebecca Kopp says, hi, Warriors, Nova and David. Oh, aren't you amazing, Rebecca? It's good to have you here, as you are every week. We've got K-A, I can't see the last name there, but Kay waves and says hi. Hey, Kay. And Becky Horton is there and says hi. Hey, Becky. Okay, I might start looking for some questions there, guys. I'm going to apologise in advance for myself and David in that we can never get round to answering everyone's questions. So, yeah, please don't be offended. There's just so many that we just answer as many as we possibly can. Okay. We've got Alison Riggs is there. Hi, Alison. Alison says, I just got out of a bad narcissistic relationship. He used voodoo on me. Oh, my goodness. I don't think I've heard of that one yet, but it certainly doesn't surprise me. I'm from Tamworth, Australia. Hello, hope your day is great. Oh, okay, well, it's great to have you here, Alison, and hopefully none of those voodoo strategies have worked, and it's just cruel to let you know that he's attempting things like that. Okay, Tricia
That's
says
that's some bad gaslighting. Voodoo.
voodoo. Yeah. Gosh, I don't even want to go there. How do you know if it's worked? Like, oh gosh, but as I said, it doesn't surprise me. Trisha Craig says, David's back. You guys got things sorted. Yes, we did, Trisha. Facebook took our ability to do the split screen away for ages, and we've just worked out how to, well, Facebook has allowed us to do that again, which is really exciting. Yeah. Okay, just looking for some questions. There's so many people here. And we've got Katrina Harris-Bearden is there from San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Katrina. Okay, just comment your questions, guys. I've got so many people saying hello, I can't find any questions. Okay, Tricia says, David, do they ever leave you alone? It's been 4 months and he's still contacting me no matter how much I ignore him. Do they ever leave us alone?
Well, I mean, yeah, sometime. Eventually they have to. We all die eventually. And I'm not trying to be funny, but yeah, and that's awful. I'm really sorry. I've heard of pretty bad stories of it going on for a long time. But just be really aware and conscious of what you are doing. Sometimes we're just answering the phone every time, or just things like this. I know you said you're doing a good job ignoring him. Maybe 4 months, it gets to a point where you have to decide if you want to take further actions. Be careful. Document everything that happens, everything this person does to you. And you can always speak to a legal person, a lawyer or something, to see what your rights are, depending on where you live. But, be careful. Be very careful. And seek help. Talk to people about this and tell people how you feel. Really important.
Yeah. If they're not leaving you alone, how are they kind of getting their foot in the door, Tricia? How are they contacting you? Are they finding loopholes when you've blocked them? Are they stalking you? Are they I'm hearing this a lot, using private numbers so that you don't know it's them? If that's the case, then you document. If they ring you from a private number, you let them know that you're going to get a restraining order, and you seek help from the police. You get a lawyer involved, but they tend to not leave you alone when they can still get a foot in the door, and they've still got that capacity to do that. So yeah, just keep, if they stick their heads up somewhere, block, because it's really hard to get the narcissist out of your system, or the drug out of your system, while they keep popping up and into your life.
Yeah, and they're the same way. You're like a drug to them, obviously, if they're obsessed with you like this. And just please, I hear all the time, a lot of times, I hear that people don't want to do certain things, take certain steps, or be very extreme when blocking them. We get this feeling like, if I do this, they'll think that I'm being weak or whatever. But extreme is better, because if they're obsessed with you, you don't want them to even see you. If you could totally get off social media, change your phone number and things like this, because they got to work harder and harder and harder to try to reach you. And if there's no payoff, eventually they stop. Eventually they're not seeing you anymore, and eventually it stops. So it's really better to be extreme. And I just hear that. Oh, don't you hear that a lot, Nova? Like, I don't want to take a separate route to work and not drive by their house, because when they see me not drive by their house, then they know that I'm doing it just for them.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or why should I have to, change my phone number? Or why should I have to like you said, take a different route to work, or even, you know, move into another suburb. Why should I have to do that? I didn't do anything wrong. And yeah, that 100% right. Why should the victim have to do all those things? It's not fair. It is absolutely 100% not fair. But this is about, nothing with the narcissist is fair, and it's about you healing and giving yourself every chance to do that.
Yep, yep. Out of sight, out of mind. Typically, after some time, people don't like to work for free. So if they're not seeing you anywhere anymore, or you're not answering the phone, it's a totally different number, they give up. They eventually give up. And I'm sorry what you're going through, and everybody going through that.
Yeah. Okay, we got Mark Reynolds is there from London. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining us. Oh, we've got Evie Archie there from Uganda. Oh, my goodness. I don't even want to, I wouldn't have a clue what time it is over there, but wonderful to have you here. And we've got, oh, we've got Donna Chidji there. I'm sorry, Donna, from Queensland. Okay. We've got Becky Horton is there. Becky says, I've been brilliant the past 6 weeks, met some new people, and I've withdrawn and so not ready. But since people have been interested in me again, I'm missing the early days of the relationship with my ex. Let me just, oops. Let me just open up the rest of your question. Oh, it won't let me. Why won't it let me open it up? Okay, it won't let me open up the rest of your question, Becky, for some reason. But I'm missing the early days of the relationship with my ex since I've started meeting new people. So I can only guess what the rest of the statement or the question was, David, but perhaps Becky's is maybe talking about something that's really common when we meet new people and we start socializing again, and they're just not as exciting as the narcissist, and they just don't match up, or maybe it's that I can't trust them, and I hear both of those things all the time. What do you think?
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
We're if we're not totally healed yet, we're hyper vigilant, and we're always looking for danger, and everybody's dangerous. Everybody's a narcissist, you know.
Yeah.
And we measure that. We go by that, right? Are they or are they not? Are they a narcissist or are they not? Yeah, we get that a lot.
We just trust anyone. Yeah. Or we start socializing again and really trying to step out of our little safety bubble and putting ourselves out there, and we just find that no one matches up with that chemistry, that buzz that you get with when you first meet the narcissist, and you sit there wondering, you know, will that ever happen again? Will I ever have that intensity again, which is so enticing?
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, there's a level of neuroticism, you know, there's an instability in the relationship. And I noticed as I got healthier in my life years ago that I was less attractive to unhealthier people. And I was, you know, people told me I'm boring, you know, and now I take that as a compliment. And I'm not all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Or perhaps people that you used to find boring, were not so boring anymore.
Right. Healthy people aren't boring anymore. Yeah.
And this is often the mistake that people make, isn't it, David? When we first start venturing out to, you know, the world of meeting, socializing with other people, that we're often, even without knowing it on a subconscious level, we're looking for that connection, that chemistry, that sizzle that we got when we met the narcissist. And when we don't get it, we're kind of, you know, let down. And we just, you know, without knowing, no, they're boring. They're just not for us. They're just not my type.
And typically when we've been victimized and we're not healed yet, we are looking unconsciously, maybe subconsciously, we're looking for other victims. We're looking for other people that we can identify with their pain. Other people that are hurting, suffering. We identify with these people, and that really draws us to them. You know, we all are drawn to people like us. You know, and so that's why dating after this, one reason it can be just awful, 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 awful. We're finding other people that aren't healthy like we are at this moment in our life.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yes, sorry, Becky, that I couldn't open the rest, but I hope we hit the nail on the head in some capacity. Okay, look, Josephine O'Sullivan is there from Melbourne. Hey, Josephine. Okay, we've got Kay there, and Kay says, why do I feel so guilty to leave him even though he causes hell? He has nobody but me left, and I feel bad leaving him, but I want to go so bad. Probably because you're that empathic person, that the whole reason he chose you in the first place, Kay, and that your empathy, your compassion, your kindness, not wanting to see anyone on their own, is what's keeping you there, perhaps. But you've got to remember that there's a reason he's all by himself. There's a reason he's got no one else, and that's no reason for you to subject yourself to more of his abuse. Yeah. What do you think, David?
Yep. Perfect. They're extremely emotionally dependent people. And when you're in relationships with these people, typically there's a sort of parentification, where we become their responsible elder parent. We become responsible for them. We take care of them. We help them so much to the point where we feel completely obligated. And leaving them might have this kind of feeling like you're leaving younger siblings or your own children, kind of an abandonment. And a lot of times you'll realize that guilt really is just, when you come out of the relationship, we feel guilt and shame usually, but you might realize that it's more the guilt and shame that for being with them, for choosing to have someone that toxic in your life. That's typically where the guilt really comes from, not leaving them.
Yeah. And of course, don't forget that as they get older, they become more bitter and twisted, and they've lost most of their sources of narcissistic supply. So who do they rely on? That primary source. They've got stuck at home. You're it, Kay. They burnt so many bridges, and none of those dreams of fruition. So they're like, as David said, you become quite parentified in that they are dependent on you. There's no one else left, and without their narcissistic supply, that's their oxygen. So it gets worse as they get older. Yeah. So, and it's not up to you to provide them with narcissistic supply. It's up to you to heal and to remove yourself and get out. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And we've lost ourselves in these relationships. Typically, we've lost all parts of ourself, and we've become kind of this enmeshment with them, feeling responsible for them and their emotions. And you have covert narcissists and quiet borderlines that really, play on your heartstrings, and you feel sorry for them. This might be somebody you felt sorry for years. Lots of pity towards them, and you've been able to see how helpless they are to take care of themselves, really. So that's pretty typical. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jade Muller says, I love the picture behind David. Yeah, I do too. It's very peaceful, David.
Yep. It's nice.
It's a lovely pic. Okay. Amanda Pitts is there. Hi, Amanda. Amanda says, after not seeing him for 2 years, why would he ask me where was our relationship going if I didn't kick him out? He's been in a relationship since he left. What is he up to? After not seeing him for nearly 2 years, why would he ask me where was your relationship going if I didn't kick him out? Okay. Clearly, what do you think, David? Things aren't going so well with the new relationship, low on supply, needing another fix, come back to Hoover.
Yeah, I kind of didn't get the question. I'm sorry.
After not seeing him for nearly 2 years, he's obviously come back, and he said, why would he ask me where was our relationship going if I didn't kick him out? So what would have happened with their relationship if Amanda didn't kick him out?
Oh, well, I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse. Whatever was bad about your relationship doesn't get fixed. It gets worse. We become there's a part of addiction that you can start getting. I don't know if that was hard to kick him out. I don't know if you felt compelled to go back to him, take him back. Do you feel that addictive element to it? Makes it much harder. And the more we do these things, the longer we allow it to go, the lower our self-worth gets, and it becomes extremely hard to end these relationships.
Yeah. Amanda says he's been in a relationship since he left. What is he up to? So what is he up to coming back 2 years down the track after he's been with someone else, saying where would our relationship have gone? Bringing up, I guess, the good times and what coulda, shoulda, woulda happened.
Well, this happens. This happens. Whether they come back or not, this happens all the time because they can't have growing, healthy, loving, functional relationships with anybody. So however your relationship ends, they're dependent. They go right to someone else right away. That relationship will dissolve. It will not be fruitful. They will not get what they need. They will not be happy. And they've put the next person on a pedestal, and their problems are still there. It's kind of like when you move, your problems follow you. Well, they follow you right into the next relationship, and they follow his problems follow him everywhere he goes in every relationship he has. So it's not going to work. It's not going to be good. Everything he thought was great, that was they're going to fix all the problems from your relationship, didn't work. And so they devalue them, and they're always looking to the next person, to the last person, to make them feel better. They're completely emotionally dependent on you to do that. And they have been for a while, haven't they? And so when it didn't work with the new person, they come back and try with the old person.
Yeah, exactly. So Amanda, this is what we call the Hoover maneuver. He's coming back to see if you're up for another round of abuse. He's as David said, things didn't go so well, and you're probably looking all shiny and new, and you're healing. And he's come back to, I guess, stake his claim. He put a lot of work into securing you as a prime source, and he's come back to see if you will remember the good times with him, and this is just trying to suck you back in. So just stay away and ignore him.
Idealize, devalue. People that do this, watch out. You see them, they love someone and they hate someone. They love that restaurant, they hate that restaurant. Just be careful, because they're going to do that to you. They're going to do that to you. They're going to do it to the next person. When the next person is devalued, they start valuing you again. It's kind of like, we've all been objectified. We've been objects. And so whatever we supplied to them as the objects we were to them in their lives, they're able to come back and pick us up again and dust us off and say, oh, this object's fun again. I remember, this, it's like, wouldn't you all like to maybe have your first car back again? Maybe you had a nice car when you're in high school or after high school, your second car, whatever, your favorite car in your life. Wouldn't it be nice to have that back again? Right?
Yeah,
that's
look
kind
back
of
on memories, and if it's accessible, why not? This is where we need to keep blocking them. Yeah.
Some new wheels and a new paint job, and we might be okay.
Yeah, exactly. We can go another round. Yeah. Goodness, just block, and don't fall for the Hoover. That's all it is. There is often, victims are at a place, David, where they're like, I'm not going to fall for this anymore. Yeah, I can handle a phone call, and I can meet them for coffee, or maybe we can be friends. A lot of time has passed by. Maybe the narcissist has changed a little bit, and maybe if they really reflect, there's kind of a little bit of flattery, being flattered. Wow, they're thinking about me again. But guys, it's never what you think. It's always about getting you back in so they can abuse, use, and discard you again. It's never about change. They've changed. It's never about working out what they missed and, you know, wanting to make it up to you. They don't change. And the only reason they've come back is because they're low on supply. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got Rochelle Farina is there. Hi, Rochelle. Rochelle says, why do I still want him? Oops, as it escalated to physical abuse. Oh my goodness. After financial and emotional and psychological, what is wrong with me?
The true example of you lost yourself, because you know you don't want him, but like you want him. You want somebody that abuses you, so you don't even know what you want. We really lost ourselves. I'm really, really sorry. I would work with somebody, a professional, to get these things back yourself. It's an addiction. It's a true addiction. It really is. If all it is I just feel this tendency to want them back, even though they're horrible to me, then obviously we're addicted to this person. It's our hormones that have risen and fallen, and now we're depleted, so depleted in these hormones. We need to find a natural way to raise them.
Yeah, it's not about, you know, you're not missing them because you love them. Clearly, you can't miss someone that physically, psychologically, emotionally abuses you, but it feels like love because of the intensity of what? The withdrawal. Exactly what David said. There's an addiction. There's trauma bonding there, and with the trauma bonding, the push pull. I want you. I don't want you. Creates this addiction. So what happens when the narcissist starts devaluing us or discards us? We go into withdrawal. So when we want them back, even though they physically, psychologically, emotionally abuse us, what we're really wanting is relief from the withdrawal symptoms. We want to feel good again. We hate this feeling of anxiety, you know, all those horrible hormones that are coursing through our body. We want to get back on that pink cloud. So what we really want is relief from the withdrawal. And this is where the trauma bonding addiction kind of is evident, because you can't logically want someone who gives you black eyes, but you can certainly be addicted to the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, we think we need them. We think we want them. We think we love them. And we realize, hopefully later you realize it's just purely addiction. You take the addiction away and there's nothing left. There's nothing there. And a lot of my clients come to me and they're like heroin addicts. Really, really, they look like it and they feel like it. And one of the first things I have to do is raise those hormones for them so they feel okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's just like withdrawing from a drug, isn't it, David? In that, you know, what is a drug addict think about when they're in cold turkey and they're without that drug? That all they think about is the drug. You know why? Because they're in withdrawal. And, you know, they're having those cravings, and they want to feel good again, or they just want to feel normal again. So their thoughts are absolutely consumed with the drug. And this is exactly the same, because they say to us, that victims come to us and they say, this, I know on a logical level, this person was so abusive to me, but I can't get them out of my head. I can't stop thinking about them. And of course, then comes the feelings of shame and worthlessness and, you know, weak. Why am I so weak? I can't stop thinking about my abuser. And this is where we have to work. We have to teach that, you know, why they're feeling like this, and also work on changing those neural pathways that have been conditioned.
Yeah, yeah. You can treat yourself much like a drug addict coming off drugs. Addiction is number one in people's lives. Addictions are number one. And that's why it's extremely hard to stop doing this, to stop going back to them, to stop contacting them. It becomes more important than typically any other parts of our life.
Yeah.
And
This,
in that sense, when we don't have our addiction, our entire life becomes boring and numb and not good enough. Yeah.
yeah. And this is why, guys, David and I, and you will read in the research that you're doing, that we stress in narcissistic abuse recovery, no contact, no contact, no contact, no contact. Why? Because it's exactly like withdrawing from a drug, and you can't just have, like, you can't just try and withdraw from, heroin or any type of addictive substance. You can't just have little bits here and there and then think that you're one day you're just going to wake up and not think about the drug. It's impossible. So no contact gives you space to heal, at the same time engaging in your self-care, so that you can basically rid your body from that toxic drug, the narcissist.
That's right. And the shame and guilt you talked about, every time people go back, every single time they go back, every single time they go back, it's never good enough. Just like you can only do drugs for so long. The drug doesn't get you high anymore. The drug doesn't feel good anymore. The highs aren't high anymore.
Yeah,
And so you go back to them, and it's not what you thought it was. It's not what you really needed. It didn't feel that great like it did in the beginning. That's what we want. That's what our, a heroin addict will tell you. Oh, the best hit I ever had, or the best time I shot up, was the first time. And I've been wanting to get that high, that from that first time. I wanted that again. And they chase it and chase it and chase it, and they never do, because the high doesn't get as high. You guys go back to them, it doesn't feel as great. It's worse. The abuse is it doesn't matter if you took a 6-month hiatus and didn't see each other. It just starts right where the abuse left off. Usually
yeah,
doesn't take long. It's right there again. The highs aren't as high, and they aren't for them either. And that's all they care about with you. They don't care about who you are. That's all they care about is the addiction. So when they go back to you and the high isn't as high for them either, it dissolves quickly again. And now we feel ashamed to feel guilty, just like any drug addict or alcoholic or any person that's addicted to something that has committed to quitting, and they go back and do it again. Shame and guilt. Shame and guilt. Same thing we experience when we go back to them.
yeah. And the highs aren't as high. Uh, uh, a lot of the reason behind that, well, is because we've developed a tolerance, but also because our boundaries have been managed down so far. Like, you remember, in the end, we were accepting just the most disgusting behavior. So we think if they made a cup of tea, that somehow they changed, and that they were this nice, compassionate person because they brought you a cup of tea. And what this is just an indication that your boundaries have been managed down so far that there is so much contrast between the abuse and, making the cup of tea, that it seems like that's amazing, and that's, the narcissist has changed. But of course, you go back and you're not wanting that cup of tea. You're wanting the feelings you experience when you're on the pink cloud in the beginning. And that, because they never existed to begin with, and they took the narcissist a lot of hard work to love bomb you like that, then they will never happen again.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The highs get lower, and the lows get lower. Feels worse and worse and worse. As your hormones go up, they don't go up as much. As they go down and down and down till there's nothing left.
Yeah. Okay. Who else have we got here? We've got Kabam Transformation is there. Hi, Kabam. Kabam says, the guilt is the most difficult thing for me. Narcs have no empathy, not even for their children. A key story, I think, can't see that, with a narc. Yeah, absolutely right. And yeah, the guilt, I guess the guilt, David, around perhaps staying too long, subjecting yourself to that, and there comes in the shame. Why did I stay so long? Why did I let this happen to me? And this is where, yeah, you guys really have to, I guess, turn those negative thoughts around and keep telling yourself that this was not your fault and that this happened without your permission. You didn't ask to be abused. You were the victim here.
Yeah, and don't do that by yourself. Don't do that alone. That can be very damaging, very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Work with somebody. Always work with someone.
Okay. Hey, Vicky. Vicky says, my narc still tries to control me. He can't let it go despite hating me. Yeah. The power and control has nothing. The power and control has everything to do with hate, and nothing to do with wanting, to be with you or anything like that, Vicky. Yeah, they can say they hate you and still want to keep an eye on you every second. They still stalk you, want to be looking at what you're doing and controlling you. Yeah, what do you say, David?
Well, they have no lives, right? They can't keep
No.
relationships with people that typically don't know anybody else, and you are their life and you're gone, and they can't control and manage their own life. And typically when we can't do that, we try to control and manage other people's lives, and that's what they're doing. Yeah, I'm awfully sorry.
Yeah. And don't forget the narcissist considers you to be their property, I guess. And, because they put such a lot of work into securing you as a target, they consider that they think you should wait around for them or be ready to provide them with narcissistic supply basically forever. So they need to, their need to control you is about just, I guess, staking their claim and keeping an eye on you so that you can't heal and that they can come back at any stage to garner narcissistic supply.
Yeah, the real bad ones will hurt you so bad that when they leave you, they know that you won't do anything. It's like setting that object on a shelf to stay there for when they come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely, yeah, disable you.
Okay. Just looking for another question. David, we've got Donna Wilson is there. Hi, Donna. Donna says, ex-narc whom discarded me a year ago, and I've been on my own now, still tries to control me, but now his control is parental alienation. Oh my goodness. Okay, so he's switched the control from Donna clearly to the children and is trying to manipulate the children into hating the other parent. And how often do we hear this, that the kids are just collateral damage in their need to abuse.
The ultimate smear campaign, right? Smear campaigns are to control you. They can't control you, they control people around you. And what better people to control than mutual children?
Yeah. And and of course they go for the chinks in your armor. They go for what is most important to you. So if they can, sway your own children's opinion of you, then that's what they will do. Why? Because it hurts. It hurts you.
It's your vulnerability, right? What's the most biggest vulnerability a mother has? It's their children, right?
Yeah. 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 Just disgusting.
And the only thing you guys have in common anymore.
Yeah. Okay, just going to try and open this next one up. Okay, we've got Andrew Ferguson is there. Hi, Andrew. Andrew says, you can't co-parent with a narcissist. They will destroy their children without a second's hesitation. I took my children and moved to another state and we lived in hiding, but it was the best thing I ever did. Yeah, so I'm not sure what went on with your court case there, Andrew, but clearly you've got custody of the children, and you're absolutely right. You can't co-parent with a narcissist because they will counter-parent everything you try to do that's in your children's best interest. You're coming from the frame of reference that, hey, let's do what's best for our children. The narcissist is coming from the frame of reference. How can I get to you? How can I hurt you? Oh, okay, the children. So if you want something for the child, you want braces for the children, then I know how I'm going to hurt you. Doesn't matter that the children lose out. You can't co-parent. You are going to have to learn how to parallel parent.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're just another child. They are not responsible adult, emotional adult. And I also want to add, hi Andrew, and that's great that you took the children away from the abusive parent. You know, children are better off without an abusive parent, no matter what. I get this a lot, actually, frequently from parents, and they say, well, I just wanted them to be a part of their life. I still want them to have a father or a mother. And it's like that's titles, you know, that if they're abusive, it's not going to help your children. So that's great if you can do that, I think. But you know, it's a fine line, isn't it? So
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just trying to look for more questions here. Okay, Rebecca Kopp says they tell us we can't survive without them, that we are not normal and that we need them. Yeah, of course. What a great way to manipulate you, to get you to that stage where you doubt yourself through the insidious process of gaslighting, projecting all of their horrible qualities onto you. You start to doubt yourself, and you start to believe them and question everything that comes out of your own mouth and question your own thoughts. So you continually get told this. You get told this often enough, you start to believe it. And then what happens? Your strength to leave becomes weakened, and I guess you think, well, this is as good as it gets. No one else is going to want me. And this is exactly where they want you, so that you're more pliable, you're more easy to manipulate. But really, it's them that needs you. They need you. They need you to want them, to need them.
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's great. They're so dependent. They really want you dependent on them. That's a lot of their tactics right in the beginning of dating you, is they need you dependent on them. That helps them get what they need from you. So there's many things they'll do, but they'll isolate you is one, right? So you don't have people to give you an outside perspective of what they see is going on, or for you to get help, or for you to, you know, have anybody else in your life that you need. To be dependent on anyone else. They want you dependent on them. And they will tear down your self-esteem by picking at you, criticizing you until you can't leave, till you feel like you can't leave, till you don't want to leave, till you don't feel good enough to leave.
Yeah.
These are all tactics they use, and these are common tactics military uses, or even Facebook. Facebook wants you to check the Facebook 100 times a day. And what do? They text you 100 times a day, don't they? Never any peace, quiet, right? They get you addicted to them. They get you dependent on them. They really want that.
Yeah, even if you're not answering those 100 texts a day,
You're looking.
a lot of people will admit later on, when they're kind of out of the fog, that they, in a strange way, became dependent on seeing those 100 texts come through, because this made them think, oh, they're thinking about me. Maybe they've changed. Maybe there's, some way that we could get back together. And they actually become dependent. Even without answering the text, they become dependent on seeing the text, so that when the narcissist doesn't text, then their life is still consumed with thinking about the narcissist, because then they're like, oh, well, they texted me 50 times yesterday. What's going on? Today they haven't texted me. So the thoughts still creep back to the narcissist.
Yeah, exactly. Just like social media does. They send you notifications and alerts all day, keep you checking and looking. Yeah. And then what happens if you don't text back within 5 seconds, right? Why'd you take so long to text back? You get this conditioned response. Yeah.
Question mark. question mark, and then another text, question mark.
2 question marks. Yeah.
Yeah. Or another text all in capitals, question mark. You know, swearing by using capitals instead. It's just insane. This is just all about power and control. And it's got nothing to do with missing you. Yeah.
Or love.
Or love. Absolutely. Okay, let's open this one. Oh, why does it keep doing that? Okay, Rebecca Bliss says, hi, Rebecca. Rebecca says they are not okay. They gaslight and, oh, Rebecca, yours just disappeared. Sorry. I'm so sorry, Rebecca. Hopefully it'll pop back up again and I'll be able to read it. Facebook likes to do that every now and then. Okay. I feel awful when that happens. Okay, we've got Anne Dine is there, and Anne says it's taken me 6 years after his death to even begin to heal from his abuse. Oh my goodness, 6 years. Yeah. And often we think, Anne, that, well, we hear, don't we, David, from, I don't know, we kind of just get it instilled in us from society, this kind of misconception, if you will, that you don't talk ill about the dead, you know. So I guess that would make it harder sometimes when someone has died to be able to speak about how despicable this person is, because there's that kind of underlying, you know, I don't know, just thing there in your head that they're dead now, leave them in peace, leave them rest in peace. When and this person was your abuser, and you owe them nothing. You're allowed to talk about your abuse, whether they're not alive. That's your right. Yeah.
And I get the other too. I've had clients who lost their abuser, and during the relationship, they passed, and then they get the flooding in of people with the condolences. I'm so sorry. They were such a great person. You were such a great couple. And they're like, God, can I tell them? You know, I can't, right? So I got to say thank you. Oh, yeah, my husband who beat me or cheated on me. Yeah, he was wonderful. I know. Yeah, we were the perfect couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, I've seen this a lot. Yeah.
So I guess what we're saying there, Anne, is you're allowed to, number one, you're allowed to grieve. That doesn't mean you forgive your abuser. That means you're giving yourself closure around the loss of a relationship, dead or alive, giving yourself closure over that relationship now being gone from your life, but also being able to talk about your abuse and your abuser in any way, shape or form that you see fit. This happened to you, and if you want to talk about it in any way, that's okay. And you need to talk about it.
Yeah, need to. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I really hope that you're seeing someone and talking to someone to help you through that process, because yeah, I think sometimes when if they have died, it kind of changes things for us, but it really shouldn't. We should be allowed to work that through that abuse in the same way we would be able to if they were alive.
And I'm sorry you've been suffering for so long, 6 years.
Yeah.
Hire somebody to help you, so you don't have to suffer a few more years anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we've got Shireen Chappell is there. Hi, Shireen. Shireen says, David, you are so right. The anxiety gets worse. And what is that? The something of abuse gets smaller. Oh, sorry, the circle of abuse gets smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no more golden periods where it's really great and nice. Those kind of get smaller, smaller down to none. It's just pure abuse, pure addiction, pure abuse. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. let me try and open this one up. Okay, we've got Sandy Hegestad Gillespie there. Hi, Sandy. Sandy says, mine had me waking up in the morning and thanking God for a new day, but in the same breath, I would thank God if he was ready for me to no longer walk in the land of the living. Then I was good because I couldn't. Nearly lost you. Because I couldn't imagine having to live through another day in the pure evil and toxic environment I had been living with my ex-narc. Yeah, I guess just total confusion there. You want to leave, the abusive situation, but there's something there that's keeping you there, and clearly that your ex-narc, Sandy, was manipulating you into staying and I guess enduring the abuse that he was inflicting upon you. Certainly not your choice, but that's what was happening.
And we go back to that addiction again. And when we're in, we addictions are number one. We protect them. We lie to ourselves. We accept their lies easier to hold on to this addiction, to this cognitive dissonance, right? We tell ourselves, no, it's going to get better. It's going to be better. I deserve that.
You certainly never choose this abuse, and you don't, I hear this all the time. I let it happen. I allowed it to happen. And that's just not the case. You were manipulated. And David pointed out, rightly so, cognitive dissonance, which is, I guess, a coping mechanism where we have to survive the abuse. So we need to get rid of the conflicting thought, which is, hey, this is really bad, I'm being abused here, because we need to survive the abuse. So how do we do that? We need to make the abuse not as bad as it actually is. We minimize it, we rationalize it, we justify it sometimes so that we can endure it, because at that stage we can't get out, we don't have the tools.
Yeah, this all started in childhood, feeling helpless and hopeless in these situations, emotionally dangerous situations.
Yeah. Okay. What have we got here tonight? Okay, we got Michelle Dark is there. Hi, Michelle. Michelle says, how long does it take for the hoovering to stop? I have a narc who won't stop trying to contact me. David?
It takes as long as it takes. I mean, people are all different, really. And so focus on what you're doing. And I know we kind of drill this, but what are you doing anything at all? And the biggest example I can give is people that keep answering the phone, hello, and I'm not saying anything, I'm just hanging up. Well, just that hello they're holding on to. They're seeing your activity on Facebook. They're asking people, your friends are giving them little bits of information on what you're up to, what you're doing, who you're doing it with. So we really got to create that circle, that bubble, and be extreme. If someone's harassing you, it's stressful. You might have a stress disorder, PTSD, or a form of it. We've got to eliminate this kinds of stress. You'll never get better. So we got to be extreme, right? And commit to yourself and invest and be extreme. Pause your social media accounts, change your phone number, take different routes. Don't let them see you, because the more they see you and hear you, the more the obsession continues. We've got to stop this. I'm telling you, eventually people don't like to work for free. Eventually they're not going to keep looking you up and keep calling you and keep driving by and keep doing these things and keep asking about you. If your friends won't tell them anything about you, if they're not seeing you or hearing you anymore, eventually it stops. And it makes it so much tougher these days with social media. You can check on people and see what they're doing and stuff. And so don't let them do this. Don't let them. We've got to stay out of sight. And be extreme. And the law is always there to help you. If any of you are worried or wonder what you could do, what your rights are, contact a lawyer, or a police officer at least. But you can make police reports. You can send letters from lawyers. You can, there's things that you can do in every country to stop this. And then you have to decide at some point, do I want to just let it fizzle out, hopefully, or do I want to start combating this? Yeah.
Yeah. You have to make sure that every possible angle is covered so they can't hoover you. You know, if there's places you think you might see them, stay away. I mean, you know, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, David, is it fair? No, 100% not fair. It's not fair that you have to change your life, but this is not, it's not about, I guess, being right. It's about healing. And you need to get away from that toxic substance to be able to heal. So don't ever think about making these changes like David was suggesting, as in changing your phone number, your email, staying away from certain places. Whatever you do, don't look at it in terms of giving in to the narcissist and them, you know, getting away scot-free. This is not about that. This is about, not about you being weak. It's about you healing.
Yeah, you're investing in your own emotional self-worth and self-health, emotional health, your future,
Yeah.
your life, your brain.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we've got Megan Weymouth is there. Megan says, I had a lot of hate and disgust towards him by the time we got an IVL, so I wasn't heartbroken when it was finally over. Let me just, yeah, that's all I can see at the moment. Megan, sorry about that. Yeah, so I had a lot of disgust by the time that, did you want to respond to that, David?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We might have a lot of disgust and anger and hate with ourselves too. I said that kind of earlier. You'll notice that this kind of eventually starts directing towards us and ourselves, and we're not happy with ourselves, and we're not happy, and we're maybe ashamed and feel guilty about what we've been doing, our part. But yeah, try to express these negative feelings so we don't hold them inside and keep them open forever. Express these things. That's good that you're saying it right here. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry I couldn't see the end of your question there, Megan. I'd say there's a huge volume tonight and they're just going up like that before I can even read them out. Okay, Gina says, how do you beat that in court to get no visitation for the father? I'm reading them really quick now. Gina, how do you beat that in court so you get visitation for the father? Well, that all depends, I guess, on what's happened, your lawyer, whether, I guess, that the family court recognises this as abuse. We all know that the family law court system is flawed, but certainly the best thing you can do is to have a lawyer that is really, really switched on to narcissistic abuse. And to document everything, write down every tiny little thing, no matter how small, with regard to the abuse. But is there an exact, I guess, thing we can give you to make that happen? No, it really depends on what's happened and your lawyer and how good they are a lot of the time.
Yeah, legal advice. Go get legal advice. Depends what country you're in and your situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Get legal advice. Get a lawyer. Yeah, I hope you've got a lawyer yesterday, but yeah, it really depends on what your lawyer says. But make sure you've got a lawyer who's switched on to narcissistic abuse, because as we all know, many of them aren't.
Good luck.
Okay, we've got Shireen Chappell is there. Shireen says you need to get a DV support person for court contact, a DV helpline and counsellor service so they know who to recommend. Yeah, great advice, their Shireen, all of that. But hopefully your lawyer, this is where you need a good one, will point you in the right direction of all those facilities that you can access to help you through. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's different in every country. So whatever she's speaking of, that's your country. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we got Wendy Rogers is there. Wendy says, I finally let go of him. I got mentally well and he couldn't play me anymore. I've seen a side of him that proves all my doubts. Next step, I will be putting an AVI on him. I have moved on. Yay! Good for you, Wendy. Yeah, that just wonderful news to know that you're healing, you're moving on, and you're working on breaking that connection with your abuser. Wonderful news.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Rest of your life.
Inspirational, especially here tonight, Wendy. Okay, Mark Reynolds says, I've only been following this page for a few weeks. I've had so many light bulbs go off. The inside of my head resembles a pinball machine. I don't know if that's good or not, Mark. After years of doubt, I finally realized I'm not crazy. Yeah, how good is it, David, when people are able to have that light bulb moment? So such a big light bulb moment that it feels like a pinball machine. And yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, validation, right? Yeah, some validation right away is amazing. Yeah, and these moments, that this is healing, understanding why you hurt and why this hurts so bad. I hope you see that it actually helps the pain. It helps the healing process. You're never going to change what happened, but you can definitely change how bad it feels. You can change the emotion. And so learning what happened to you, fully understanding it, is healing. So you're healing. It's good. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. As you know, you get told the whole relationship with the narcissist, it's all you. You're the problem. If you hadn't have done this and if you hadn't have done that, then we wouldn't be here. Don't be looking at me. You go and fix yourself. The problem is with you. So when you can finally have that light bulb moment and have that validation that, oh my goodness, I've been with a narcissist. I wasn't crazy. I can put a label to this. I can put a name to it. I've got something to look up, and it wasn't me. The problem was with them. That's a huge moment in your healing journey.
Yeah, instant shame and guilt. Some of it lifted off you.
Yeah.
And you can't fix anything till you know what it is to fix too. At least that helps you in a direction, where to go. Some kind of answers, validation. It's a beautiful moment. I remember mine.
Okay, we've got Tanya Scott is there. Hey Tanya. Tanya says, I seem unable to recover from being completely shattered, disabled by what happened. I can't seem to find the switch. I can't live in this state and nothing seems to help. Is there any hope? David?
Yeah, anything you can't do by yourself, anything you need help with, get help. Get help. Ask for help. More than one person if you need to. Ask for support from people in your life to be there for you. This is really tough after this. We've our self-esteem, our self-worth is so low. We don't feel worthy enough to ask for help. We give up quickly and say people don't understand. And they may not, but we still need their support. And that's why it's so important. It works out so much better to not rely on the people in our lives to fix us, just to support us. And then we hire somebody to help fix us, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And support groups. Support groups are amazing. Why? And there's many online. There's a fantastic one in Australia called TANSR, TANSR, the Australian Narcissist Support Recovery Group, if any of you are looking for one. The reason the support groups are so amazing is because they've been where you are, or they are where you are, and someone is actually there who can go, yeah, me too. I get it. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and I get your pain. And that all goes towards that validation, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stress it enough. When somebody comes to me for help, I offer so many different things that they don't know about, that they didn't think about, and they may not even feel worthy of doing for themselves. And somebody there to kind of, cheer you on and be there for you, support you, makes you feel more worthy. I mean, it keeps you doing things that are good for you on the right track. And it's really important right now. And not getting the kind of help that we need, we have really big tendency to keep making this mistake over and over again. I'm telling you, this isn't just about feeling better, and a lot of people think that that's all we're trying to do is feel better, and we go and feel better, and we make the same mistake again. It's just really important. Mistakes are great, the same ones awful, over and over again. Yeah, it's devastating. Imagine all of you doing this again right away. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need help to learn what happened.
Yeah.
Guess what?
We've got Vicky Laws here, David. Vicky says, I'm not sure what you're responding to, but Vicky says, yes, but the smear campaign means nobody believes you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the smear campaign. Yeah, the smear campaign, exactly that reason, Vicky. So to make you feel more isolated, you can expose them. You can expose the narcissist. You can bring them down. You've seen that true self. So the narcissist has to get out there and destroy your character, put lies and rumors out there about you so that no one believes you when you go to expose the narcissist and tell people what really happened. Yes, and that's true, isn't it, David? A lot of the time people don't believe you. Sometimes they're flying monkeys, sometimes they're ignorant, naive. A lot of the time they've just been manipulated by the narcissist as well, and they've seen that little seed of truth that the narcissist always throws out there about you, and this is why we never defend ourselves against the smear campaign. Do we,
Yeah, we
David? We
don't
just
play.
don't go.
Yeah, don't play that game. Do not ever play that game, because that's what they want. They want a back and forth fight. And anybody that believes this stuff, that knows you, right? Anybody that really just entertains this stuff, they like gossip, don't they? Anybody that believes bad things about you, is somewhat judgmental, aren't they? It actually matters what, they tune in to say, well, I don't know, is it true or not? It's like, we don't talk bad about people. We don't put people in negative light. It doesn't matter who they are. It matters who you are, the person saying it.
Yeah,
That's what matters. And so just try to know that the closer someone has a narcissist to them, someone with a personality disorder, the closer that person is to them, the more unhealthy they are. And they're more likely to believe and listen to gossip and be judgmental and stuff like
yeah,
this. We can't value that opinion, unhealthy
yeah.
people. We can't value what they think and what they say about us. And I'm telling you that nobody knows who you are more than you do. You decide who you are. And if somebody doesn't agree with that, they don't know you.
Yeah. And
And just really,
the people who listen to it and agree with the smear campaign go, oh my goodness, really, and listen to the rumors and gossip are often people you don't want in your life anyway, because the people who love you unconditionally would go, no way, no way.
yeah.
There's just no
And
way.
And that's why a smear campaign is so damaging. You've got one person saying something and they're abusing you. That's abuse. They're intentionally trying to hurt you. But then you might have 10 or 20 people abusing you too, going back and saying something to you, saying, doing stuff to you. And it's just damaging. It goes on forever and forever and forever. And so we don't judge people. We don't do that. And people are allowed to make mistakes no matter what somebody's saying about you. Can't they make mistakes? Can't they do something bad? I mean, who hasn't done something bad or wrong in their lives? And
Yeah,
we're saying, oh, that person did, that person did. They're awful, they're horrible. And fine, let them be horrible or bad, but we don't mistreat people. We aren't bad and awful to people. Right?
yeah,
That's what separates us from people who are bad and awful.
yeah, yeah.
It's it's
And
it's
you've got,
it's a tough, it's a horrible, horrible experience. It really is. And it can continue for a long time until you
yeah,
maybe get some help. Yeah, with it.
caused a lot of damage. And, you know, look at the person who's out there, you know, saying, I guess, instigating the smear campaign and saying horrible things about you. Look at what sort of life they must have. This is the person that, yeah, no life, absolutely no life, because that's, they spend their entire waking moments trying to convince all these other people that there's something wrong with you. What a life.
Yeah, I hate myself and I'm so messed up. I'm just going to convince everyone in my life that it's somebody else. It's you. You're the messed up person. You're the bad person.
Yeah.
Anybody that hates someone that much hates themselves.
Yeah.
Try to really understand this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Way too much time on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, I guess, on a, you know, a much more serious note with regard to the smear campaign, don't defend yourself. It only ever backfires, doesn't it, David? And it's what the narcissist wants. They want you. They want you to go, oh, that's not the way it happened. It happened this way. And they'll invite you. They want you to defend yourself so that they can continue to extract from you and extract from all the drama going on. And so you just ignore, and don't listen to what they're saying to you, because even when you know it's garbage, it still hurts. You know, you're human. It still hurts, so you don't listen to it.
That's right. Doesn't matter how strong or healthy you are. You can't have that kind of negativity in your life. Don't tell people to tell you what's going on. You don't need to know. And you should be countered with people in your life telling you good things about you, telling that they love you.
Yeah. Cheryl E says there, hi Cheryl. Cheryl says, any tips for dealing with a narcissistic parent, even as an adult? Yeah, absolutely. I think being the child of a narcissist is probably, you know, the hardest, the worst sort of abuse to try and leave, to try and get out of. Why? Because you've been conditioned to meet the needs of your abuser, which just happens to be your parent, your entire life. From the day you are born, you have had that obligation instilled in you that you owe them, you know, and they will, as most of you will know, that throw it in your face that I gave birth to you and I put a roof over your head. Doesn't matter that there was no love or affection, and you know, lots and lots of emotional and psychological abuse. But they gave birth to you, so this gives them the right to treat you any way they choose. Dealing with a narcissistic parent means breaking that conditioning that you do have an obligation to meet the needs of your parent despite the abuse. And I guess I'm here to tell you, David's here to tell you that no, you don't. No one has a place in your life who is abusive. This is going to play on that conditioning you've had your entire life, which is you are obligated to meet my needs. And I've had you so that you'll look after me when I'm old. No one has the right to have a place in your life if they're abusive. Narcissistic parents rely on that conditioning that takes its, you know, is there over your entire lifetime. They rely on that so that you will stay around, and it causes a lot of damage when you're an adult, and you have every right to say, no, these are my boundaries. I will not be treated like that.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's just huge, because I just had a comment on a video of mine the other day, last week. And this obviously, I know a mother, I'm guessing she was a mother, and she was angry with me saying, don't tell people this. Don't tell people that to leave their parents. And she said, it's their mother and they should always be there for their mother. And it's like, no, we don't unconditionally love our abusers, and it doesn't matter who they are. And so I want to say, you don't have to take it. You don't have to have a relationship with them at all. It's your choice. Okay. I'd love to start a movement, divorcing your parents. you know. And they rely on that debt that you feel like you have, this certain responsibility for them. But I think we, you know, typically we didn't ever feel like we're accepted by them. We might be searching for that. And if this is a narcissistic parent, that means they abused you. That means they abused you, and they probably took your power and your control away as a child, and you need to take that back. One way or
Yeah.
another, you have to take that back. And usually that means not in your life at all. Or if they're going to be in your life, it must be completely 100% on your terms. If they're
Yeah.
not going to apologize for what they've done, and they're not going to face it and take responsibility and accountability, and you still want them in your life, that relationship absolutely has to be the way you want it, 100%, not the way they want it.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
don't, you know, a loving parent, you know, who should love you unconditionally does not have to use guilt to have you in their life, does not have to remind you of what you owe them all the time. That's not what a loving parent does. So, but this is what narcissistic parents do. They have instilled that obligation in you, and you dread having to say no to them. You dread having, by the same token, having to show up at Christmases and have contact with them, because you know that they're going to put whatever you're doing in your life down, have something to say about it, or you know, want you to be there at their beck and call, no matter what, no matter what's going on in your life. It's all about them, and that does not stop as they get older. It gets worse.
Absolutely. And toxic parents will use guilt, shame, and fear to get whatever
Yeah.
they need from you. Guilt, shame, and fear. Oh, I'm just a bad, horrible parent then, huh? They'll use that kind of crap, make you feel sorry for them, make you feel guilty. Oh, I'm going to lose everything, lose my house if you don't do this for me. Like it's your
Yeah.
responsibility. Yeah, guilt,
Yeah.
shame, and fear. Or I'm never going to talk to you again. I'm going to tell everybody how bad you are. I'm going to do, I mean, it's just guilt, shame, and fear. That's how you know your parents are toxic.
Yeah. Another way that their toxicity becomes very evident is in how they sabotage your relationships. Often under the guise of caring for you, but they'll infiltrate themselves into your relationships. Why? Pathological envy. It looks like you might be happy in a relationship, and they've lost their looks. None of their dreams came to fruition, and also your attention is elsewhere when it needs to be on the narcissistic parent, and just issuing that power and control over you. Sabotaging your relationships is a really big one that toxic parents love to do.
Yeah, no autonomy, right? You don't have your own life, your own friendships. You don't get to choose who you want to date, who you want to be with, where you go, what you do. It's all what I tell you to do. I'm living through you,
Yeah.
really is what
And,
I'm doing.
and the goalposts continue to be shifted as they were when you were a child. You might think you might they might sabotage one relationship, and then you bring home the perfect candidate you think is the perfect candidate, everything that mum or dad wanted, and that one's not good enough. They just will continue to shift the goalposts on whatever you're doing, including your relationships in life. Why? Because they never want you to actually achieve anything. They just want you to be scrambling to try and please them all the time.
Absolute dependency. Absolute dependency. I need you and you and you, and you need to meet my emotional needs, which is impossible to try and meet your parents all their emotional needs because they don't do it themselves. And that way, since you can't, you're never enough. We get this
Yeah.
feeling that we're never enough, never good enough.
And how often do we hear, like, even as adults, 50, 60-year-old adults, where they're still dependent on that elderly parent for their self-worth. Everything I do, I just want them to like it. I just want them to say, job well done. And they find, even at that age, they're really still trying to get the validation from their parent, which is just never going to come. You'll always be chasing your tail because they never want you to achieve anything.
Yeah, they've maybe stolen your childhood, but like I said, they've taken your sense of control and your power away as children. If they have, it's just crucial that you get that back somehow. You can't have them in your life if you don't feel like you have any kind of control or power in that relationship.
Yeah.
That'll just keep eating at you, deteriorating you.
Okay, we've got Sneetha Baden is there. Hi, Sneetha. Sneetha says, how do we manage to deal with authorities that enable the narc and don't believe you? He's a narcissist, covert sociopath. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's a really hard one when you haven't got authorities believing you, Sneetha, and this is where, yeah, we need to document, have cameras in place, and just, I guess, try and produce as much evidence as we possibly can to prove the abuse. But it's hard
Yeah,
sometimes, isn't it?
yeah, it could be impossible. I've heard such horrible stories. There's so many men in jails and prisons all around the world, and they're in there for not hitting their wife and girlfriend. I know this a lot, a lot. Girlfriends and wives, and males too. But I've just heard this so much from women that have faked being hit and abused by men, and authorities believe them and arrest them and process them, and now they're in court defending themselves and maybe even sentenced. And it's just it's horrible, awful, awful, awful. And you know, regardless of how you deal with this and how you get authorities to believe you, it's just extremely important to learn a lesson from this. And that's take things very slow with anyone out there in the world, and be careful who you let in your car right away. Be careful who you invite over to your house, because once they're in your house, they can come back and they can be a problem. They cannot leave. It's just extremely important to realize, you know, we went too fast. We didn't know them
Yeah.
well enough. Yeah.
I think we need to try. I mean, this is domestic violence, guys. Just because you don't have bruises, and I'm not saying you don't have that as well, not domestic violence, domestic abuse. And I think we have to get society, we have to get laws changed. And this means more education, more resources. We need to get to a place where not one single DV report is knocked back, where you're told, no, that doesn't meet the threshold. And certainly all are taken very, very seriously and in a timely manner. This is where it needs to be. But certainly at the moment, because of lack of resources and I guess because of the lack of recognition of psychological and emotional abuse, aka narcissistic abuse, your cases are not being taken seriously when you go to report them. And this is where the laws need to be changed, so that, you know, coercive control, narcissistic abuse is taken very, very seriously. And there are so many, the allocation of resources, I guess, so abundant that the pile of domestic violence reports every single one gets addressed. And that's where we need to be, so that no one falls through the cracks.
Yep, it's not a perfect system, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Some things you don't have control over. Some things you can't. You may not be able to convince these authorities. Sorry.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as you were talking about earlier, David, with regard to false reporting, this is also where there needs to be increased resources and a change of laws, because there needs to be consequences. There needs to be consequences for people who make malicious and vexatious threats, because what happens when they do that, they make it bad for all of you guys. When you make a legitimate report that gets overlooked, there's not enough time, it just doesn't meet the threshold for what we deem as, you know, serious harm. There needs to be consequences for the people who do falsely report. There's no incentive not to do that at the moment. People are just getting a slap on the wrist.
Good point. Yeah, I hear that a lot. It's too bad. Yeah, but laws are changing. You know, there are petitions and things in place to help this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we might just answer a couple more, David, before we wrap it up. Okay, who else have we got there? We've got, let me just open yours. Okay, I've got it. Now, before it floats away, I'm going to read really fast. We've got Kerry Savage Bell is there. Hi, Kerry. Kerry says, it absolutely breaks me. I'm seeing the same pattern of behavior with his new girl as he did to me. He cheated on her and lied to her from the beginning because he was seeing both of us. I didn't find out about her until the last month when his friend told me. I've tried reaching out to her for coffee and a chat, but whatever horrible things him and his mum have told her, and now it's just floated away. Oh, Facebook. Yeah, basically, when you want to reach out, David, to that person, and you know what's happening, you know what's going to happen, and you can feel the pain that they're going through. Yeah, what do you say about that?
Well, you know, there's something to that, right? Where we wish we could have helped ourselves, saved ourselves, wish somebody did that for us. We want to right what's wrong. We don't want this person to get away with it again, you know, and that's great. And I'm not going to tell you it won't work or help, but man, it won't help you. It won't. And there's just so many bad reactions I've seen from this. Once you really understand this, you'll realize how important this experience is for somebody, that they have to go through it. I'm telling you, I've gone through this, and I'm just so grateful that I did. I had to. If I didn't, you know, years and years ago, then I'd have to now. And there's just a humongous, biggest life lesson to learn from this. This isn't just coincidental, and it's not coincidental that it happens over and over again. There's lifelong lessons and things that we have to learn. And if you don't, it's a tragedy, and we can't take that away from someone else. As awful as experience as this person's going to have, that was like yours, it's necessary, and this is why we fix things, because it hurts so bad. If it didn't hurt at all, we wouldn't fix it.
Yeah. And I guess we've also got to remember that a lot of the time it will do us like more damage, in that who we're trying to save has not yet kind of broken away from the narcissist. They're still very susceptible to their hoovering, and it can do a lot of damage to us when we step in. And also a lot of the time they won't believe you. They just won't believe you, because they want to still be in that relationship, even if it is toxic. They're kind of where you were once, in that they're not at that stage where they can completely break away. So you put yourself right in the firing line, back in, I guess, the narcissist circle, because perhaps this person will go back to your ex-narcissist anyway.
Right. And we've just spent over an hour talking about smear campaigns, right? And what is that? That's when your ex starts saying bad things about you to the people in your lives. And I'm not accusing you of doing that,
No,
of
not at
smear
all.
campaigning, but we are going back to our exes and telling bad things about them to the people in their lives. So it's the same thing. I mean, technically. So let's not be like that. Let's not be like them. And let's focus 100% on you. Because
Yeah.
if you've been in a
Gotta be
relationship with a
just about
narcissist,
you.
you have focused all your attention on them, not you at all. So it's time for you,
Yeah.
100% you.
And I guess the flip side of that, David, is that when, should that person go back to the narcissist, where we're giving them weapons by telling this person, who I guess would at that stage be a kind of like a flying monkey, we're giving the narcissist ammo, because we're pouring our heart out to this person. We're giving them our emotions, which of course will be flipped and projected back onto us by the narcissist.
And if we had a void, I'm saying if we had a big void going into this relationship and we thought this narcissist filled it right away and our 4 happy hormones are through the roof, right? And here's someone we don't know says, oh, they're a really bad person. I guarantee you they're going to listen. Every single time it hasn't worked when I've heard this. And it's coming back to it on them and they feel horrible. And everyone believes that you're everything they said. You're the horrible person that the narcissist has said about you.
I've never really heard of getting anything really, really positive out of it, unless it's a long, both of you are a long time out of the relationship and then perhaps you come together. But you've also got to look at the element, and I think sometimes you really have to dig deep for this and do a lot of self-reflection. What's my motivation in doing this? Yes, I want to help this person. But damn it, that person, he or she really, really hurt me. You know what? And I want to get my own back. I want a little bit of revenge because they hurt me so much. So if you do a lot of self-reflecting back on your motivation, perhaps there's a little element of there in there. Quite naturally, I guess normal for what's happened to you, but nonetheless, that's there.
And how about a website? Yeah, how about a website where we all post our ex-narcissist names on to let everybody know they're a narcissist? Well, guess what's going to happen? Your name's going to be on there too.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody pointing fingers. Stop.
It's got to be about you and your healing, nothing is about them once you start on this healing journey. It's got to be about you. Healing means putting a brick wall, so to speak, between you and the narcissist, where you don't know, nor do you care what they're doing with their life, who they're with, what job they have, whether they win the lotto or, come down with some horrible disease. You don't know, you don't care. You are in that land of meh, where they are not inside your head anymore.
Yeah, and I love you said, really, really find out what's your person. What are you doing this for? Why? Because and I'm sure there's an element of sabotage in that. I'm telling you, you don't need to. It won't work. Their relationship will be disastrous, just like yours was, because they have a personality disorder, and that means rigid. That means will not change, will not be different at all. It'll be exactly just like it was. He'll be that he or she will be just that way every time.
Yeah. And often, I just thought of this, often when we do go to talk about the narcissist with their new target, more often than not, rather than putting a wedge between the two of them, we actually strengthen their bond, because the narcissist will have told the new target, crazy, jealous, insecure ex. If she comes to you and says this, and this, then you'll know what I'm saying is true. So of course we go and do that, and the new target goes, oh, wow, they were telling me the truth, and I will never do that. Oh my goodness, they had such a crazy after them. I will never be like that. So what does it do? It puts the narcissist up here, makes them out to be this wanted, desired commodity, who it appears that, there's two people wanting him or her, and the new target tries harder because they don't want to be like the old target, and the relationship is actually strengthened.
Yeah,
because
that's a great point. I've made a rule now over the years in my personal life. I don't get involved in other people's relationships, because when anyone out there, I'm sure you've tried to give advice to a friend or something about their boyfriend or girlfriend, and you say, oh, anything you say that's bad about that person, they go and tell them eventually. They make up the next day and then they tell them, and it's now, guess who the bad person is? You.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get involved. This has got to be all about your healing. It's awful to see another person when you know what's going to happen. But believe me, if you interject yourself into that, it will backfire.
And when you learn everything you need to learn about this experience and you heal and you feel all better, you'll stop being so scared and worried for other people. You realize since you got better, they'll get better. They'll be okay. You're okay. They will be okay.
Yeah. Okay, David, we might leave it there tonight. It's been amazing as always having you here. Thank you so much. I know everyone from Brighter Outlook loves it when you come and do the lives. Yeah, do you want to tell everyone where they should subscribe to for your YouTube channel?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my channel's called DeMars Coaching. Thank you for supporting it. And everybody that's watching my video here, my supporters, go support Nova, Brighter Outlook Counseling Service on Facebook and YouTube. I'll put the links down below in the description box. Please go over there and support her. Thank you.
Okay, and yeah, guys, do yourself a favor, subscribe to David's channel for weekly videos to help you with your trauma and yeah, in your narcissistic abuse recovery. So yeah. Okay, David will be back to join us for these live streams in 2 weeks, not next Thursday, the Thursday night after. So thank you very much for joining us. Have an amazing week and do something about that sunburn. Aloe vera.
It's on. Yeah, I got aloe vera. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully it will be all brown by the next time we see you. It looks very fresh.
Yeah, hours ago.
Lucky you. Oh my goodness. Okay, David, thank you. Yeah, and I'll talk to you soon and we'll see you here at the lives in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Nova. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and supporting us. Thank you very much. Love yourself first. Bye.
Thanks, David. Bye. Swing for day. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining David and I here tonight. It's been amazing, as it always is. We both love doing these live streams. Now, please, if you can, guys, share the live stream. I know that's not always possible for many of you because you're worried about I guess your anonymity, you're worried about your abuser or someone that knows your abuser seeing it, but perhaps in a private support group, wherever you can, please share, just I guess to help spread awareness about narcissistic abuse, and to let everyone know that these live streams are happening weekly, or at least fortnightly, and that there is a forum where you can come and talk about your abuse and your recovery. Now, please always remember this is a public page. It is not a private support group. So private pages, as you know, you have to request membership, you have to join, a lot of the time answer a question. So yeah, just be mindful of that it is a public page. Guys, if you would like a little bit of one-on-one extra support in your narcissistic abuse recovery, I am a professional counsellor and this is my area of expertise. I'm in Brisbane, Australia, but I counsel people via Skype all over the world. So just inbox me here and there'll be details about an email that you can contact to set up a time, and I would absolutely love to be able to support you in that recovery. Please take care. Remember your worth, as always, and then add tax. Bye, everyone.